Alright, here we go, we're live. Let me know how everything is. Can you see me fine? Can you hear me fine? Let me know. Just did a very short pre-stream on Twitch, so shout out to those of you who did tune into that. Thank you very much. There are a lot of impersonators out there, so I'm going to say right at the beginning, if you ever message anybody that you think is me, make sure you check the description of any of these YouTube videos to find the page. I do not have backup pages, I do not have second pages. Read the names carefully. There might be a double L, a double I, an I might be a capital L, or vice versa, whatever. There are a lot of scammers out there. A lot of people are being scammed right now. Please be very, very careful. Being a degenerate is a business model. Let's not let you be a victim. Please be very, very careful. Let's get straight into the analysis today, ladies and gents, because we've got an interesting one right here. Let me just double check the comments, make sure that everything is okay. Thank you all for coming in. Shout out to those of you who have already hit up the like button. Shout out to StuTube Trading in the comments, telling you all to moon up the likes. Thank you very much. All good? Perfect. Perfect. Let's go. 3 things that the bulls need to do right here, in my opinion, where if they're able to do it, we might have a good chance at recovering, but at the moment, it looks like this recovery is failing. Before I get into those 3 things, and actually related to the first one of those 3 things, Bitcoin managed to rise above the $56,000 level that I outlined yesterday. But I was very vocal about the idea that we could end up setting a double top. And it looks like we've done something like that. Look at that. We've dipped down massively. Now we're already making a recovery, so that's a good sign. But that only puts us in a rising wedge, which is quite bearish. We formed a lot of those in this trend already. Look at that. We formed a lot of those in this trend already. So that's not particularly giving me much confidence. These fountains are throwing me off right now. Greetings from Palestine. Greetings to you too. I didn't know we had many viewers from Palestine. If you're from Palestine, let me know in the comments today. What Bitcoin ended up doing was it climbed up above this yellow line right here. And it ended up forming what was at the time a bull flag, in my view. Look at this. This looks like a bull flag. Look like, you know, it's a small kind of falling wedge before a big rise up. That's what it looked like to me. And it was a good sign because we got above the resistance level as well, which I did not expect. I said in the previous show the fountains, there you go, they're boring. What I said in the previous video is that if Bitcoin is able to rise above this yellow line, I would be pretty optimistic about it. So I was, but it couldn't hold that level. And, you know, I can't really convey how upsetting that is to me right now, because it shows me that Bitcoin had a really good chance at potentially carrying on upwards. And again, it's lost that opportunity. You know, I told you that the only good thing we could do right here, in my opinion, yesterday was rise above the yellow line. We did that, and Bitcoin still crashed down. Now, granted, we're seeing a little bit of a pump right now. We can zoom in really close and we can see that this is certainly having some small legs behind it, but this can be short-lived. I'm not going to care about it unless we rise above this yellow line right here. The fact is, we didn't. And that leads me on to one of the first big things that Bitcoin needs to do right here in order to rise high and start resuming that uptrend. Because right now, things are very delicate, right? What I was talking about in the pre-stream just before this live stream started, and by the way, shout out to those of you who are tuning in live today. Thank you very much for already hitting up the like button. I really do appreciate that. Are we in an ascending channel? Yes, sir, I think we are. But what I was talking about was how this market is very delicate, right? There was a lot of euphoria on the way up, and that naturally breeds a lot of fear on the way back down. There's almost no way to there's almost no way to avoid that. You know, if you're having a very quick rise like we did already, that parabolic rise, when things go bad, they're gonna go very bad. And that becomes a massive problem in a market like this. That's why we see these kind of dumps. And what's Worse about this is that now that we're in one of those bad phases, it's relatively difficult to get out, and there's a lot of continuation that can happen before things get better, right? So one of the first things that I think Bitcoin needs to do right here is it needs to establish some support. Right now, the only thing we're doing, ladies and gents, is we're establishing resistance. Remember this Ichimoku cloud that I told you about yesterday? Yeah, I told you that we'd be facing a little bit of resistance on the 1 hour time frame from this Ichimoku cloud, and bam, there we go. We did. We faced that resistance and we got a rejection. This might not look like such a big deal to you, but from high down to low, that's minus 5.8%. From the Ichimoku hit down to the low, that's minus 5%. Down to the current price, that's still minus 2.5%. This kind of move on 10x leverage would have been a 25 to 50% profit, which is pretty damn spectacular in my opinion. That's a pretty good profit to make just off one very simple, very reliable indicator, in my opinion. So shout out to those of you who are subscribed to this YouTube channel already, who did tune into that analysis, because this shouldn't take us massively by surprise. That Ichimoku cloud was already there offering some resistance. Not only that, on the 4 hour time frame, we've already got a lot of that resistance catching up to us. On the 1 hour, it already has caught up to us. Take a look at that. This was another one of the signs that rejected us just very recently. Going to stay on the Ichimoku cloud though. It's very, very clear that the market is facing some resistance from this at the moment. And the thing that Bitcoin needs to do here is establish some support, because on the path to recovery, we need a few key things. We need a few key things that are going to give the market strength and that are going to make it psychologically feel like it's okay for the market to continue rising up. And that might even mean avoiding something. So there's 3 key things that I want to cover with you in this live stream before I get to your questions, but please drop them now as we go on, and I will try to go through them anyway. And the first one is about establishing support. Bitcoin needs to establish some good support. It doesn't matter particularly where we establish that support. It can happen anywhere. It looks like we've already started to do it at 52k around over here, 51.4. Next still has a few problems. Just come back actually, probably sleeping position. We could be establishing it at 53, 54 might be a decent level. I don't know. I think that the best level to establish some support is down here, but I'm not super picky. I just think we need to establish good support. And that would mean potentially testing it a few times, right? Just a few times, 2, 3, that's enough. Just once doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence. I know that it's a strong area of support, but how strong it is, I'm not so sure. I would like to see, if we fell down to this area again and we got a very quick bounce over here, just like we did right here, that would give me a lot of confidence, right? But we could just fall down there and trade sideways, and then I would feel absolutely terrified and expect a big drop coming down. The reason that this would be different is a big bounce very quickly indicates to me that the market has tested this level, and it absolutely, I'm covering this a little bit, I'm sorry, and it absolutely does not want to be there. That's what it would tell me. The market has tested this level, but it has no intention of being there, purely because the bulls have more strength and the bears run out of strength at this range, right? And so I think that's very, very significant, very, very important to be keeping in mind at a time like this in this market. Bear with me. Just want to put that there. Yeah, perfect. So that's the support thing. I think Bitcoin needs to establish some support. Until it doesn't, what it's going to look like primarily, I think, is it's going to look like the bears have control of the market. And if it looks like that, and people are already upset and they're subject to feeling fear and uncertainty and doubt, that can lead to bigger sell-offs. And you guys already know that I don't think that this bull market is ending. I don't think anything close to that is happening. However, that's exactly what bigger whales will want right now if we're going to dip lower. This is where I'll remind you, ladies and gents, that these situations are where whales and institutional investors would be buying Bitcoin. First of all, I don't think they would be buying Bitcoin in situations like this because we're way too high. I think all of that buying interest was cleared up at 20k, more likely down here, much more likely. And I actually know this because of my own connections inside of the OTC business. Most of the wealthy guys were buying right down there at $3,000 during late 2018 and early 2019. I know this for a fact, that many wealthy people were buying down here. That's not a surprise. That's exactly what you would expect if you had a realistic perception of markets, not a perception of markets that suits your own biases, where you think that rich people will be there to make you rich. That's not the case. That's not how the world works. And for that reason, I wouldn't necessarily expect many particularly wealthy people to be buying Bitcoin on this kind of dip either. But I still think it'll happen. I don't think it's sensible, but I think it'll happen anyway, especially if Bitcoin dips again, because I think that the next area it could dip down to would be between 42 and 38 as an absolute worst case scenario. So we need to establish some support to make us look like we have the strength to not dip down there, and I think that's going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. The other thing that Bitcoin really needs to do right here is it needs to reclaim important areas. Now, we already made an attempt at doing that very recently with this market right here. We managed to rise above $56,000, which was a clear sign that Bitcoin was trying to reclaim an important area. And I've already explained to you in the previous live stream why I believe this is an important area. Once again, those of you who are regular subscribers, you will have watched that and you'd understand it very well. But the point is, we've had a lot of crucial turning points at this level. We've had big resistance hits. We've had big support hits that actually triggered rallies up to all-time highs. That's happened multiple times. So this is quite an important level, and Bitcoin did try to reclaim it, unfortunately not with much conviction. So we need to do that with conviction. That means we need to do it with confidence, which means we need to be able to rise above the level and either stay there for a long time or rise significantly above it. The next important level to reclaim would be $60,000. These are things that would just add a lot more confidence to the market, in my opinion. 60K is obviously only a subjective idea. It might be higher, it might be lower, it might be nowhere. But 60 to 62, I think, would be certainly an area of debate and concern in the market. If the market is able to rise up to this level and test it as support, that would be what I consider to be a reclamation, I suppose, of that support level. And that, I think, would add a lot of confidence to the market, because it's showing us that not only are we rising, we're now giving the bears a chance, but they're too weak to capitalize on it. So the only way must now be up. I think that's a very healthy conclusion that you could draw off price action that looks like this. That would be the easiest conclusion to draw ever, I think. That would be very, very good. So we need to be able to reclaim important areas, purely because from the psychological standpoint, that really puts the power back in the bulls. It'll make the bulls feel a lot more optimistic if we've reclaimed those kind of areas. And a lot of the time that does involve coming back down to test them, giving the market a chance to crash through the floor. If the market does not take that chance and instead it pumps, that tells you everything you need to know about where this market is headed. That tells you that we had a chance to take things bearish. The bears could not seize control of it. So once again, it should now be in the bulls' hands. That's what it would mean, in my opinion. That would make me very, very excited. The third key element that Bitcoin needs to show us, in my opinion, is it needs to avoid a clear top on the monthly time frame. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to illustrate for you, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Bitcoin right here on the monthly time frame, on the logarithmic chart we should look at, just for simplicity, it didn't form many red candles during 2017, right? It was the first one. This was barely a red candle. I'm not going to count that. The second one, third, and then fourth. But like I said, I'm not counting the fourth one. So I'm not counting the first one. So there's only 3 red candles that were produced throughout 2017, and only the most, only the biggest one, the final one, was big, right? In terms of a percent loss, this was quite a big candle. We can measure it just to prove that. This was down by minus 23%. The one previously was down by only -7. The one before that was down by only -10, and the one before that is so small we can't even measure it. But this final candle was head and shoulders the biggest red candle that we saw in 2017. And the issue is that when we see a red candle like this on this kind of time frame, it starts looking very concerning. It starts looking like things could be very turbulent for Bitcoin, and that things could be ready for a big crash downwards, right? I think that's very, very important. It's worth noting that we did form bearish candles before we topped. So We might still be able to do that now. It's only natural. But if April turns out to be more of a bearish month than it is right now, and we end up dumping by anything over 10-15%, it's going to start looking pretty bad in my opinion. Currently, April has already lost 6% on the monthly candle open. That's not a big deal at all. I don't think minus 6% is too scary. If we drop down to 52,000 and close there, if we close at 46,000 or lower, anywhere in these kind of areas, it's going to turn into quite a big monthly candle. And I just think that that would be quite concerning, indicating that we could possibly continue trading downwards if we get a big monthly candle. That's going to really upset a lot of people. And the thing we need to keep in mind right now is that this is, again, a very, very delicate, tense time in the market. So people are very easily upset, and seeing something scary like a big monthly candle crash could be quite upsetting. My view on this is this looks really, really healthy. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive months of upward price action where the close was higher than the open of the month. That's very impressive. That's a very, very impressive uptrend. And I think it's only right that we might end up suffering 1 month of red movement afterwards. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think it'd just be so healthy for the market. And it's good that we entered this downtrend, you know, just before the middle of the month, because I think that gives us plenty of time to correct down, and then a lot of time to recover upwards in May. That is something I'm very, very optimistic about for sure. And the reason that I think this is important also is because a lot of people right now are in a lot of profits, right? It's quite easy to be in a profit right now in this market. Let me blow up my camera because I don't need the chart right now. We'll go back to it in just a second, but it's quite easy to be in a profit at the moment. And that means that a lot of people might just be a few big reasons away from deciding that they want to take profits on their positions. If everyone takes profits straight away at the same time, you are going to get a market crash. And if people are doing that when things are tense and you're already subject to feel fear and uncertainty and doubt, as I've been saying throughout this live stream already, you've got a very deadly, lethal, scary combination on your hands. And that is something to be respected and taken seriously. Someone in the comments here saying that some red is good in the market. It absolutely is. We need to have downward movements in markets like this. Otherwise, they will not function, and you will just be kidding yourself. Let's now zoom in a little bit more and give you some more of that core analysis. Switch over to some altcoins, and I will then go through your Abdullah, don't leave comments like that if you're listening to this. And I will then go through your questions. So if you do have a question, please make sure to tag me at FORFLIES in the comment section, and I will get to your question shortly. But like I said here, a rising wedge. This is an indication to me that we could end up trading lower. If we fall down now, I think that we absolutely could continue this downtrend quite soon. It is only a Monday, but Los Angeles, for example, is only just waking up now. I think it's only 11 a.m. there, and so that kind of tells me that you know, there's still a lot more blood that can be spilled in this market cycle right now, in this market phase, I guess. I don't know. That to me indicates that more downward price action could be just around the corner. This would turn into very, very bloody price action. Hopefully a substantial drop. And I've already made my opinion quite clear to you. I do think that if the market falls down to this blue box and then penetrates below it, we are looking at a big range where Bitcoin might end up crashing down massively. And the reason I think that it might crash down massively is that on the way up, there was no real resistance. It traveled more or less in a straight line. And the same thing on the way down, with only this exception and this exception. But broadly speaking, every time Bitcoin kind of left this range, it fell straight to this one, and the opposite in the other direction. There's just not much price history that has happened here. And that usually means it would be a pretty quick, pretty seamless journey from one side to the other. And that's well worth being aware of, because if things like that take you by surprise, you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. So that's why I think it's worth taking note of those kind of things. And actually, that would be a big trading range. I've already calculated it, but that is about a 15% trading range with a with 10x leverage. That would turn into a 150% profit, right? So if you started with $100, that would turn your $100 into $250, which is very, very impressive. If you want to see where I'm trading those kind of moves, the exchange is Bybit. It's linked down below. You can also watch my tutorial where I show you exactly how to use this exchange, and I tell you what all the buttons mean and different things like that. And if you want to be able to watch me trade in real time, then the steps to join VIP are on screen right now. Our group has absolutely blown up over the past couple of days because members have been doing so well. I think that we have a few fresh testimonials for you. Let me see if I can bring them up. Here's one that I've got for you right now. This one was just 2 days ago, I think. Right here, this member mentioning that I think this person lost 0.5 BTC a little bit earlier, and now is well on his way to recovering that. I mean, 0.5 is a very large amount of money, but this is it's a proof of concept, because I think that's a 63% profit. It's a little bit blurry, but something like a high double-digit profit with a $1,000 gain. You know, it's not necessarily that, you know, he's got to recover $25,000, so he hasn't made much on his way back up. What he has done is he started to prove a concept that he can repeat this, and he can scale this, and he can turn this into very, very profitable trading. That's what's happened for a lot of people inside of our amazing FORFLIES VIP group. A lot of people that start off with relatively modest profits that are able to then compound it and turn it into life-changing sums even. We have seen results like that. Let me see if I can bring you another one up right now. This one was absolutely killer. I'll just bring it up on this screen right here. This person mentioning that he took his first trade and made over 300% profit inside of VIP with his first trade, you know, paying off the entire fee that this person paid to join VIP within less than a week of joining. We've been seeing things like this happening in this market again recently, purely because the market is so volatile and our content inside of VIP is so thorough. So if you don't know what's going on, then follow these steps to inquire about it. We do have someone here who can jump on the phone with you and also see if you would be a good fit for VIP. So if you would like a phone call, just follow these steps on screen and request one, and we will set that up for you. First link in the description down below, then the @FORFLIES button, and then the send message button. I have to reiterate once again, ladies and gents, that there are a lot of impersonators of me right now on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Telegram, everywhere. A lot of impersonators. They're very convincing, and they will scam you. They will take your money and block you. So the only way to contact me or find my official pages are by following links in the description of this YouTube channel and observing the verified tick. That's the only way you know if you're actually talking to me, if you found my channel through this. Anywhere else, it's not me. People will put in 2 L's, they'll put in 2 I's. The L might be a capital I, for example. There's a lot of way that these impersonators are going to try and trick you. Don't fall for it, please. A few people already have, quite a few people actually, and I don't want that to continue. Please keep that in mind. There's no other official places. Everywhere else, they will just take your money and then block you. Please be very, very careful. Big drop here that I could be interested in trading, and my best case scenario for Bitcoin is that we end up rising here, and if Bitcoin sets a high higher than this one, that would make me quite optimistic, because we're now setting a trend of setting higher highs. It wouldn't completely make things easy for me, in my opinion, because it would mean that we are in a rising wedge still. It would still imply that we're in a rising wedge, which means that we could top out even up to $60,000 and we'd still potentially be bearish according to this sign. But it would start, you know, making things seem a little bit better for me, purely because it shows me that, you know, the bears are not seizing control of the market super quick. They're not even defending resistance levels as much as they should be, in my opinion, if Bitcoin is able to rise above 57.5. It looks like the bears have a lot of strength, but if they are not able to hold Bitcoin back when it pushes this level, then I'm going to start questioning how much strength they actually have. And that would make me very, very optimistic about the market. Someone's pointed out the likes and views. If you are enjoying this live stream, thank you very much to that person in the comments. Please make sure to hit up the likes if you have enjoyed this so far. If you're new to the YouTube channel, then welcome to the most realistic analysis you'll find out here. This content is not made for your feelings. It's not made to make you feel good or to make your emotions run in all butterfly, how do I say, make you feel like you got butterflies in your stomachs and stuff like that. This is all about realistic analysis because that's what gets you paid. That's what makes you money in the game of trading. Everything else is a waste of time and very, very dangerous to entertain in the game of trading. Let's take a look at Ethereum now really quickly, down by more than Bitcoin. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's exactly at that fib level that I spoke about yesterday. I said that if Ethereum can rise back up to this level, I would expect that it actually already went above this level. I would expect that it gets rejected here. So we've already gone above it. There was a small rejection, but not a big one at all. Very, very small. And Ethereum has managed to pump above, and now it might be finding resistance here again. I wonder if there's any indicator that says that Ethereum should face resistance here. At the moment, it doesn't look like it. I think if Ethereum got rejected off this resistance again, it would probably drop below 2000. And the reason I think that is it's now tested, it's already fell below 2000 once. It's tested it twice afterwards, so 3 tests total. And if it gets rejected at resistance, that's going to be a very recent example of the bears retaking control in the market. And I think that could really, really be what drives Ethereum much lower. I would be quite concerned if that is what took Ethereum lower. And oh, actually this wick did not take us below 2000. It took us to exactly 2000, which is very, very impressive. Look at that on the OHLC on the top. It took us to, look at this, exactly $2,000 on the dot. Very, very interesting. So I do see potentially a little bit of a sell-off coming off right here. If Ethereum is able to breach this level at 2166, if we're able to rise convincingly above, then it could make a rally all the way up to 2300, 24, maybe even 25. So that's what I'm seeing right there with Ethereum. What do I think about the Pi cycle chart? Not much. I don't take it super seriously. I want to take a quick look at Swissborg as well. I haven't spoken about it much, but it is consolidating right at the big buy range that I outlined for you guys a while ago. If we zoom out, I mentioned to you that if Swissborg is able to fall, and I've said this a long time ago, if Swissborg is able to fall back down to this level, it could turn into a very juicy buy range in this market. And it looks like it started to do that. You know, we have dipped into this range a few times and we've seen big pumps already. I think that on a more macro scale, as long as Swissborg holds this level, we could be looking at rising up very, very nicely. The good thing that I see with this is that the way they make this coin, the way they run this coin, holders are incentivized to hold through a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into the technicals right now, but they are very good incentives. You guys know me, I am a realist. I wouldn't just say this for the sake of saying it. This is why I bought the token myself. I genuinely think that they have... I'm going to say a word that 6 months ago I would slap myself for saying, but I think they have good tokenomics. Yeah, that's a cringe thing to say for me, but they do. It's a fact, and well, it's not a fact. It's an opinion, but it's a strong opinion, and I certainly think that that could be what takes Swissborg higher in the future. So if you do want to buy this token, then you can follow my referral link in the description where I say join Swissborg, where I wrote join Swissborg, and there you can find the information to buy the Swissborg token on their platform. It will not work for people in the US. By the way, people who want to sign up to Bybit, which is the main exchange that I use for trading all of these markets, you can sign up in the US, even UK, but you will need a VPN. So it's up to you if you do take that risk. There you go, I've said my part there. If you do follow the link in the description, you're going to get some free money to trade with, hundreds of dollars free to trade with, depending on how much you deposit, which you can withdraw the profits on. So that can be very, very useful to just learn what the buttons are and things like that. And if you're in need of a backup exchange, which you 100% are in need of if you don't already have one, then once again, Bybit is one of my favorite places to be. I've been using them for years and I stand by them fully. Linked in the description along with my tutorial on them right there. Is there a possibility now for Ethereum to rise and Bitcoin cries? Do you mean Ethereum rising and Bitcoin dropping? If so, yes, I think there's a chance of that, just because Ethereum has dropped more than Bitcoin, but I don't think that the chance is too big. I think that as long as Bitcoin is bearish, Ethereum is bearish. Generally, I think that's how it would go. CME gaps, I don't really care about them. What's my take on using USDT perpetual versus inverse perpetual? One better over the other in certain markets? You know, there are just marginal differences. It almost always comes down to personal preference, and I prefer to use inverse perpetual because I don't want to hold any money in USDT. What are my Ichimoku settings? 20, 60, 120, 30. On screen right there. 20, 60, 120, 30. I've memorized that off by heart because of how many people have asked. Got a couple of you guys asking for information on VIP, even phone calls. Like I said a little bit earlier, for those of you who are interested in joining VIP, there's no set minimum balance you need. There's no set maximum. We've had millionaires joining, and we've had people who only have $1,000 to trade with joining as well. Mixed results, of course, across the board, but it's entirely possible for you to join almost no matter what your bankroll size is. We've had amazing results inside of VIP. Just pause the video and read these as we go along. They're very, very interesting results and impressive results to be pulling in this kind of market where a lot of people have been losing money even as well. It's been going very, very well. So if you do want to join VIP and even request a call with a member of our team to see if this is a good fit for you, then the steps on screen will take you there right now. My assistants are online, by the way, so they will get back to you as you ask these questions. Most recently, I did trade a long position up to $65,000 where I closed a 50% profit. I should note, I should make it very, very clear because somebody asked me to, although I mentioned this in every video, nearly every video, I only partially closed my position at 50% profit, partially closed it around 26%. Half of what was left roughly was closed at break even. And the other half of what was left was closed at a small 2 to 5% profit. So overall, it was still an impressive trade to be pulling in this market, considering that I went long about over here. I could have lost a lot of money, but I turned a potentially losing position into something that was still profitable because I constantly was reanalyzing the market and adjusting my take profit and risk management strategies. And that's a really, really big deal because I was able to prevent myself from losing money on a trade where actually I know a lot of people have lost a lot of money on this drop, not only because Bitcoin tanked, but because they were in over leveraged positions and different things like that. People who were inside of the VIP group were able to enjoy some slightly better protection against that drop because we saw it coming, and that's why we were becoming a lot less aggressive with that trade and actually ended up closing a bunch of it, well, closing all of it before the big drop happened. So that can be very, very useful. I'm going to leave this up for a minute for those of you who are reaching out. We were just running that 50% discount. It's now ended. A couple last exceptions are being made depending on which plan you take. One dude in the comments really wants to know if I've ever visited the Maldives with my girlfriend. I don't know why you care so much about my personal life or about significant women in my life. Please do slap yourself live on stream. I'll let someone else do that. I think it would be very cringeworthy if I did that. I should write a book called Tokenomics. I should slap myself 10 times before I consider that. What's your take on using USDT? Okay, I already answered that. Why altcoins dump when Bitcoins dump? When Bitcoin dumps, here we go. I think it's time talking about this again. I'm sure many of you already know why, but let's just break it down real quick. The reason that altcoins drop usually very hard compared to Bitcoin when Bitcoin drops is because altcoins are smaller and there's usually less fundamental backing behind them, which means there's just less reason to buy them. Like there's less good reason to hold an altcoin than there is to hold Bitcoin most of the time. So the first one is important because a smaller market will almost always rise harder and fall harder than a bigger market. The reason for that is there's less volume in the market, so it's easier to push it. There's just less money in that market. There's less money flowing in, not less money flowing out. That means your $10 has more power in a market that's worth $100 million than a market that's worth $1 trillion. That's one of the key reasons that altcoins move in extreme ways. And the other reason is that because these altcoins are much more speculative, they're not necessarily proven, they're still cryptocurrencies, and there's a certain way that cryptos are viewed by the general public. Bitcoin is seen as the king of them. If Bitcoin is sick, then they're all sick, kind of thing. Well, because of that, it certainly is a case where the market does end up responding with a lot more fear in the altcoin market than in the Bitcoin market, purely because the big daddy, so to speak, is sick and upset. So everything is falling, and that actually triggers a domino effect as well. It's just that when the safe asset, which is Bitcoin, it's perceived to be safe compared to other cryptos. When the safe asset is suffering, people are losing money, and people start feeling fearful as a result of that. So they don't want to take more risk in the market. They actually want to take their risk out of the market. And the only place that's more risky than Bitcoin in this market, other than leverage trading, is altcoin trading. And so when you're already losing money and you feel fearful and you feel bad, you're not going to want to lose more money, which means you're going to want to limit your risk. And most of your risk is usually found in altcoins. That's why altcoins typically fall harder than Bitcoin. A lot of people don't pay attention to this. When they enter altcoins, they're just looking at the really appealing gains, which obviously can be very big compared to other things. And they don't really consider the downsides, which is that they'll often crash a lot harder than Bitcoin. They're often a lot more unpredictable than something like leverage trading, but you don't really think about that when Dogecoin is just pumped through the roof, right? It's absolutely... You can feel the pain of the Swissborg partnership running through my veins. I have no pain about that. I'm up more than 3x from where I bought Swissborg, so I couldn't be happier. That's a bigger gain than Bitcoin enjoyed in the same time, which is why I bought it. The only reason I bought Swissborg, by the way, with the link down below, was that, well, one of the main reasons I bought Swissborg was that on a technical and fundamental level, Swissborg looked like it would outperform Bitcoin, and it did. I knew it. I knew it before I bought it, and that's why I bought it, and that's why I told you I bought it at 29 cents. It's now at over $1. And that was only 3 months ago, right? This is why I said I was buying it. And right now it looks like it's at that support level. So no pain. I love the guys there. Hopefully I'll visit them in Switzerland, because they are based in Switzerland. They're actually regulated in Switzerland as well. I will visit them hopefully later this year. Back on the altcoin discussion, a lot of people, they do ignore the facts when it comes to these altcoins because of the really appealing gains. And this is where, you know, taking a more realistic approach really does pay quite well in the game of trading. You know, it's worth giving these things that extra bit of thought and consideration, because if you get it wrong, you stand to lose a lot of money in the game of trading. You know, you don't want to be putting yourself in positions like that. It's just not a good place to be. That's my take on altcoins, and that's my explanation for why altcoins typically fall a lot more than Bitcoin, because they're very, very speculative and very, very dangerous. My approach, as you know, is leverage trading. I prefer to do that because I feel I can control my risk a lot more. I'm only trading Bitcoin, which I perceive to be a lot less risky than an altcoin, and I'm able to trade it with exactly as much risk as I desire. That's how, like I said, I was able to close a partial 50% profit on my most recent trade. No one else can pull gains like that in this kind of market right here. Once again, I showed all VIP members how I did that inside of the VIP group, where I gave all the details about that trade, and I will do for all future trades, and I've done it for all of my previous trades as well. So as soon as you join, you have a lot of content to go through, because we're most likely giving you a free course with whichever plan you choose, depending on which plan you choose, of course. And that gives you, you know, hours of content to go through straight away, recorded just like this. And also, bear with me, and also we've got the VIP library. We've got all the previous posts for you to study and examine so that you can get a better idea of what my trading style looks like. And if you consider my trading style to be safe, which I think it is, you can get an idea for what safe trading looks like, but still quite profitable, quite beautiful trading as well. So once again, steps are on screen right here. Let's go through some more of your questions though real quick. Do I think a W pattern is forming? Yeah, I do. Let's take a look at the W pattern. It's right here. I have seen this W pattern. I'm not the biggest fan of W patterns, so I'm not really too worried about it. You know, I'm not really focusing on it too much. I don't think they're super reliable, to be honest. You know, we've formed them before, right? Look at this one right here. We've formed them before. So W patterns are only the beginning of rising wedges. That's a quote. That's one of you guys. You gotta print that out and post it and put it on your fridge. Stick it on your fridge. W patterns are only the beginning of a rising wedge. Keep that in mind. I don't have many extremely wise moments on live streams. Usually a lot of them are embarrassing, but that was one of the wise moments, and it happened so naturally. I'm so proud of it. Oh my god, what? How is this guy? I gotta read this. This person's just commented the same thing like 10 times. What's he even saying? I'm gonna read it before I block him. It's my humble request. You will regret it later if you ignore my text. You are wasting your time and your life just spending all day. Oh god. Indians make the rest of Indians look really stupid sometimes. I've just gone ahead and said it. I'm Indian myself, I'm allowed to say it. A lot of you guys make our, it's not even my country, but make our country look really stupid. In public. Like, why? I don't get it. Would I call it a double bottom? No, I wouldn't call it a double bottom either, because they're quite far away. The thing is, you know, I mean, you could see it as a double bottom. It's just that there's so much that's bearish in this market right now in the short term. There's so many more things that it's more likely to be, right? I think it's much more likely to be a rising wedge that's going to break down than it's likely to be a double bottom that's going to send us to new all-time highs. We're just not in a bullish stance in the market in the short term right now, and that's evident by the fact that we climbed above a resistance level and we failed it anyway. We dumped massively in the space of like 1 hour, 2 hours in fact. We established an all-time high at 65,000, which was a psychological area. We established many short-term bearish patterns. We're in another one right now. There's resistance overhead with the Ichimoku cloud. There's bearish momentum catching up to us. It's just so much more likely that this is a bearish pattern, in my own opinion. Much more likely that it's a bearish pattern than anything bullish like a double bottom. See, the Indians in the comments agree, right? Yes, my ethnicity. I'm half Indian, yeah. But Indians get it, you know? Like, a lot of Indians make Indians look like idiots. It's unfair, I think, on the whole country. FORFLIES, we understood you normally trade between 5x and 10x leverage. How much money do I normally trade with? I won't reveal that. Twits in all sectors. Yeah, there are idiots in all sorts of countries, to be honest, not just Indians, but I think Indians are quite vocal. They're quite vocal about it. How much do you need to deposit in Bybit to get the benefits from your link? So, to get the benefits from my referral link, I can't remember. I think the minimum might be 0.01, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure in BTC. I'm not actually sure. Only way you'll find out is by making your deposit, and then you'll see. I forgot. I can find out. Let me see if this link. No, it doesn't reveal much information on it. Yeah, no, it doesn't reveal the information on it. Let me go and find that for you. I'm gonna ask. Please find out what the deposit bonuses for Bybit. I've just asked my assistant to find out. If I can find out during the stream, obviously I can't check right now because I'm live streaming, but if my assistant will tell me during this stream, I'll let you know. I'm sorry I can't tell you. But, you know, I mean, the thing is, you can deposit whatever you want in order to earn that referral bonus, and then you can withdraw your money straight away. And now you just have free money to trade with. And I don't need to tell you how amazing that is, because you can trade it and withdraw the profits, which is very, very good. Stop asking me about shitcoins like ARRR. I don't care. I never heard of it. Can I look at the MRI indicator? Yes, of course. Yes, I will do that. Let's take a clean chart and look at the MRI indicator. I will say that Tone Vase just went live like an hour ago, maybe a little bit more. So his analysis is the one to use for the MRI indicator. But let me see if I have any thoughts on it anyway. Let's take a look at it first on the daily time frame. Just to see where we're at. So we've started a bearish count. We're on day 3, which implies that we could be looking at least 6 to 10 more days of downward trading action, which I don't think is likely, unless we fall below 50, in which case I think it's extremely likely. 4-hour time frame, what's that saying? This is to say, by the way, if we fall below 50k very soon, then I think we'll be trending down for that full 9 or 13 days. The 4-hour time frame has not shown any clear developments. It did call a top right at the top. Very, very impressive. This MRI indicator has been extremely reliable lately. It's just started extensions now, so this is showing more downside action. If I'm reading it correctly, which I think I am, but someone can correct me if I've got it wrong. Tone Vase will have already done his analysis on this indicator, like I said. 1-hour time frame has displayed a top and a buy. Nothing to say on the 1-hour time frame. Unfortunately, I can't give you much better analysis than that. I feel like I'd be doing Tone Vase a disservice. So go ahead and check his channel out if you want to hear his thoughts on the indicator. I'm sure he did talk about it. MRI on the 1 hour, it's just not saying a whole lot because, well, not much has happened really over the past, 2 days, 1 day, which is really all the 1 hour shows you. Do you think we go down with Bitcoin? I don't know if we go down with Bitcoin. That's kind of up to you, isn't it? But I do think Bitcoin will go down, yeah. I've had better luck listening to your analysis on the MRI indicator than Tone's. I'm just going to put that down to good luck. I'm not sure that there is a lot behind that. Try the 2 hours it gave us at reverse 2 candle. Let's see the 2-hour time frame for the MRI. My price prediction for Ethereum this year, I don't do yearly price predictions. I say this a lot, but you might be new to the channel, which is completely fine, but I don't do long-term price predictions because I have absolutely no clue, and I think it's a fool's game to entertain questions like that. There is no good way to be able to tell. You need to be a solid fundamental analyst, and I'm just not. So I really couldn't say. There's a 2 called the top again, very, very impressive. There's a 1 that called the top right here, and we're on a B6 and an A11. So these indicators show us more downward price action to come on the 2-hour time frame as well. That's 4-hour time frame. What does that say? 1 hour is potentially bearish. I'm not sure if I was able to read into it too much. 4-hour was definitely bearish. Yep. Actually, there's a buy right here, but all of the extensions are bearish. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is bearish because I got my own biases in here. I mean, it said that we're going to trade up. That was probably just for a 1 to 4 candle correction. Yeah, look at that. That was the main downtrend. That's the 1 to 4 candle correction. It's corrected upwards a little bit. This is probably super advanced for some of you guys. I'm just realizing a lot of you guys are probably thinking, what the fuck is he saying? It's an advanced indicator. But what the indicator is saying is that right here at number 1, if you want to buy this indicator, by the way, type in tonevaselikethis.com and you'll see the page where you can buy this indicator somewhere on the top. But am I in any trades right now? No. It's showing us that a downtrend is initiated over here, and this 1 indicates that we could be ready to correct the trend. And correct simply means if we moved in a strong direction one way, we would correct temporarily by trading in the opposite direction for a short while and then continue moving down. The MRI indicator is the momentum reversal indicator, which is an evolution of another indicator that I will not say the name of. Most of you who know this indicator already know that name, and it is an improved version of it. It's very, very cool. It's made by Tone Vays himself, and it's been extremely reliable in this market. 1 to 4 candle correction. It looks like that's over. So 4 hour looks bearish, 2 hour looks bearish, 1 day. What's the 1 day saying? 1 day is saying nothing. What? I must not be... Oh yeah, it's not showing properly. 1 day is also bearish. Everything's bearish. All time frames are bearish. That's pretty clear to me. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Do you know about Market Cipher? Nope. What do I think about VeChain? No thoughts. This is not an altcoin channel. I spend most of my time bashing altcoins. I just don't care about them. I don't trade them. There are rare exceptions like Cardano. Swissborg is also obviously an exception because it technically is an altcoin. But I have no interest in them, broadly speaking. I only look at them to trade them. I told the Swissborg guys straight when I entered a partnership with them that one of the only reasons I was buying their token and entering this partnership is because I knew that it would outperform Bitcoin. And it did. If it wasn't the case, I wouldn't have even looked twice at them. I really am an analyst and trader first and foremost. Cardano down against Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is down against the dollar, so Cardano's in a pretty bad position right now. Cardano's dropped by quite a bit. Could turn into a buy relatively soon, I think. Why Cardano? The reason I talk about Cardano is because it's one of the major cryptos. It's got good price action. It's healthy. I think that it's a relatively good project, and it's available on leverage on exchanges like Bybit. Where is it? Right here. 88 USDT. So you can trade it on Bybit as well. By the way, if you want to trade the Dogecoin mess, I did talk about Dogecoin. You can trade that on Phemex. Where is Doge? I gotta show you this right here. Look at Doge. You can trade this on Phemex on leverage if you have the balls to do that. Phemex is also linked in the description. Right, ladies, gents, I've got to get going relatively soon. I am meeting up with a couple of friends out here in Dubai, so I'll be heading off. If you have any final questions about Bitcoin or technicals or psychology before I round off, then please let me know. I've got a couple more minutes, and then I will be heading off. If you're just tuning into the live stream, make sure you rewind, because I don't repeat these things. So rewind to the beginning of the live stream. If you're new to the channel, please make sure that you hit up that subscribe button. It looks like we're actually coming out of the shadow ban. The channel's just blown up. We've just passed 75,000 subscribers yesterday, so thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Well on our way to 100,000. Very, very excited for that. I did promise you guys a cool thank you video for 75k. It's not done yet. I'll make it and upload it very, very soon, hopefully. Am I meeting Carl the Moon? No, I'm not. I'm meeting with some other people. I don't think any of them are YouTubers. Johnny's comment, perfectly on point, saying that over the last couple of months, he thinks I've legitimized altcoins by stopping referring to them as shitcoins. The reason I stopped calling them shitcoins is I just, you know, while I don't care about causing offense, I don't like causing offense unnecessarily. Sometimes. So, I suppose that's why I kind of laid back on it. But they are still shitcoins, all of them. Almost all. Just curious, if I'm buying Cardano, which price point would I buy at? I mean, right now it's a pretty good price point for Cardano against the dollar, in my opinion. The thing is, it has a lot of support right here. If it fails the support, then it might go down to kind of like $1.07, $1. I've already spoken about this, but to be honest, if it fails this, I'll be a little bit upset. I think that this is generally a fairly good area to be buying Cardano right now. I'm not doing it. It's just not a risk that I'm willing to take. I wonder if there's a Fibonacci level anywhere here. Let me see if there is, because I think there was. 0.5 level here, 0.618 level stretches down to $1.02. Let me just draw this with a little bit more precision, and let's start it from here. Yeah, there's no good Fibonacci retrace. I suppose this one's good, maybe. Not perfect. There's no good Fibonacci's to draw, unfortunately. My channel is growing as an altcoin. It's growing pretty well, yeah. Thank you. Hopefully we don't crash like an altcoin though. So the conclusion is, if Bitcoin reaches 40k, then the bull run is over. Harry, very much the opposite. I think if Bitcoin falls down to 40k, that's going to be exactly what restarts the bull run massively. I mean, my God, if we fall down to 40k, me, FORFLIES, I'm going to be saying 100k next. Like, seriously, with a real straight face. I'm not going to be laughing about it or saying it to tease the Moon Boys. I'm genuinely going to really very, very strongly believe that if Bitcoin falls down to 40, it's going massively higher. Because this is a standard 40% correction at that point. Look at this. Bitcoin falling from 65,000 down to 40,000, 42,000 is a 35% correction. Down to 40 is a 38% correction. And down to my final target of 38,000, that's a 41% correction. This is perfectly in line with the maximum drawdown that Bitcoin usually sees in a big bull market. And I've already shown you in the previous video, once again, those of you who are subscribed, you would have already seen this analysis. I've already shown you in the previous video how that has turned out to be the healthiest thing in this market many times. Let me show that to you again really quick. Look, bam, right here, market falls by minus 40%. Right here, market falls by 32. Again, down by 31, 32. Down here, down by 40. Over here, down again by 40%. Bitcoin usually never drops more than 40%, but it usually does drop by around 40% and then triggers the next big uptrend. Look, when Bitcoin falls down by 40% here, look at the rise it makes. I mean, very shortly afterwards, from the low to the high, it takes Bitcoin 47 days to nearly triple, right? Then it drops minus 40% again. It takes Bitcoin 54 days again to nearly triple. And from this level, it takes it 3 months to nearly do a 7 times return, just because it corrected down by 40%. So very much the opposite, Harry. I think if Bitcoin falls down to like 40k, it's going to be the best thing that could happen for the market. Personally, I don't want it to drop down that low. I don't think it needs to. I don't think it needs to. Maybe it should, but look, I'm hoping for a recovery sooner than that. Right, ladies, gents, hope you have enjoyed this live stream. If you have, please do hit up the likes one last time. I have got to go. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit up the likes. If you found it useful at all, learned a little bit, found it entertaining at all, once again, those likes really do help. If you're new to the YouTube channel, please do subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. If you want to take advantage of the amazingness going on inside of VIP, we're nearly at 1,100 members inside of the VIP group. If you want to get in on some of that amazing action, then once again, steps are on screen right here for you to join. Someone's asking me, do I remember what happened on the 15th of April 2017? I'm not looking at the chart, so I can't say with certainty, but I think there might have been a big crash. Isn't that roughly when Bitcoin fell from $2,000 to $1,800? Let me check. I wonder if I was correct about that or not. I think it was roughly when Bitcoin fell from 2k to 1.8. Let me see. Was I close? This will be a matter of pride for me. Oh, wait. No, not at all. Oh, God. No, I wasn't close at all. What happened April 15th? Nothing. Nothing happened. I was mistaking this for this. Why did you bring up April 15th? In any case, thank you very much for sticking around. Steps to join VIP are on screen. If you're a little bit unsure or whatever, no problem. You can also follow these steps to request a call from a member of our team, maybe even myself if I have the time, and we can explain to you what's going on and see if you would be a good fit for our group. Thank you all for tuning in.